weeks or builds. I assume getting more into it after we raise the roof and start putting walls in. I'll do separate videos, even though I'm working on, just one day. I'll probably do like a bathroom build and like a couch and living room, separate little segments. Today is the day before July 4th, and I'm just going to work on removing these side panels. I'm not sure if I want to drop the roof yet. I'm also removing these bottom panels, and I'll see where things go. Well, tomorrow I'm having a friend come and he's going to help me rip up the plywood, and then we're going to paint. So that's what I'm going to do. For some reason, I must be a fortunate person. All the YouTube videos that I've ever seen of people disassembling their buses, they all have rivets up holding up the roof and holding in the windows and the side panels. I don't have that. I have, I missed one here. I have Phillips head screws. I don't know how well you can see that. They're all Phillips head screws. And I feel like it's easier, and yet at the same time, more of a pain in the ass. Because back here, where I started, there's a fly somewhere. These screws are stripped, so I'm just gonna have to take like a hammer and a hard chisel and just knock the heads off. You can see this is one of the lights. This was where a speaker would have gone. I'm probably not using any. Oh look, there was a speaker here at one point. I'm not using any of these holes. I'm not using this. I'm not using this stuff. All this is going to get framed out. The floor is getting framed so it can get insulated, because I don't want a cold floor. The roof is getting fur strips, like 1x2 or 2x3 fur strips down, so that insulation can go in there. And then some of these windows are being taken out. I think almost all the windows are getting taken out. I want to use double pane windows, double pane tempered glass windows. Just because it's more or less susceptible to heat loss, and they're a little bit more soundproof than these are. And I'm a big music person. I like my music loud. I like real deep music, deep bass music, and I like movies. And you can't really have loud movies and a tiny house. It kind of doesn't work. So let's get started. So I've taken all of these out, all these panels, with the speaker and the lights. These gray and pink wires are for speaker, and the yellow wires for the 12-volt lights. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the wires in there. I'm going to tell you why. Because I want to have LED strip lights that go along and use reflection to light the bus. Get out of here, bug. So I pulled these off, and then I got curious. I said, I wonder, do I have to start grinding rivets to take one of these windows out? Don't you come to know? No, you don't. You're going to take these screws off. You just got to take these 4 screws out and wiggle it. Like, I'll take that one out. We'll do this one. So I'm just going to give it a real good push and tug and just work it out. Put the window up just enough. There it is. See it start to come? And I'm just going to work that. I don't want to be like putting all my pressure on it because I don't want to bend the frame out of whack in case I do decide to keep them. So in the bottom, they just sit on a lip, and on the other side of the lip is a bead of silicone. So you just want to, work that silicone loose, work it, just pull up. There you go. There's 2 windows out. Now I can take this window, I can put it in this one, and then put screws back in, and then it works. We're going to keep these windows out. It's much needed extra airflow in here. It feels good to have these windows out. Alright, so today's day 2, and I brought up a buddy of mine. He does remodeling. He has real tools. I don't have real tools. And he's helped me out today. You see some of this plywood. I'll zoom the camera back and show you what we did so far, what we're doing. Now today, for sure, I definitely wore the wrong shoes because we started pulling up the plywood and all the rusty screws that lost their heads just won't come out. Here's some of the plywood. You can see I was definitely back there by the wheel wells. That's definitely real bad. And up here by the door. But in between is not too bad. It could just be brushed off and put some paint down. But these panels came up fairly easy. The rest of the panels are going to come up, and then I'm going to try and get the other side panels off. Let's see. Back here, there's a fairly big hole. I just have to run to the store and grab a new lead for my welder, and I'll get some patch panels. This is galvanized tin. Just I want normal flat steel, and then I'll fix that. And then all the holes, I think I'm just gonna plug weld them. Just give them all a good, whatever. But I mean, the galvanized floor isn't in bad shape. I've seen worse. So that's so far, and it's only like 11 o'clock. So if I did this by myself, it probably would have taken like 3 weeks, about a month. Yeah, I'll give you an update in an hour or so. Some progress. Alright, so it's about 1:45, we're going to call it, because we've got a barbecue to go to. There's all the roof panels are out, and all the floor plywood is up. There's only one really bad hole. You can see through besides all the holes, but there's one big rot spot over here you can see right through. But for the most part, it looks like it's in decent shape. I am glad I pulled it up though, even with all the screws that are still in here. This pile of screws behind me is from the entire roof and that back panel. There are all the panels over there. We got the plywood over behind the camera. We're gonna pull down this insulation and wire brush the floor and paint it. I don't know. I thought of painting it yellow. I thought it'd be funny. Or paint it like gray. I think gray is cheaper than yellow. But paint it with Rust-Oleum rust prevent, just so it stops the rust if it's there. After it's all wire brushed and then the panels have to come out, these side panels. But for right now, we have to put these windows back in, It's gonna rain tonight. Well, I'll see you until the next episode. This is Christian, and you're watching Mateo Makes. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. I'll see you guys next time.